Hey, remember that fact that Disney are making an Ice Age 6? Because why not? I don't think we've seen a more blatant example of a IP coming back from the dead. The studio that made those movies got shut down like 2 years ago, and back then they made 5 of these damn movies somehow. And in case that wasn't enough to suggest that the franchise was pretty dead in the water by that point, there was a spin-off movie that was put on Disney Plus that was absolutely dreadful. We covered a terrible on it once. But yes, apparently according to Sid the Sloth himself, John Leguizamo, plans are indeed afoot to once again defrost this franchise and make Ice Age 6. Bizarrely, during an appearance on a quiz show of all things was where Leguizamo confirmed the movie was in development, and I am perplexed on it. See, Disney has all this IP at their disposal, and they want to relight a franchise of a studio that actively shut down? For those that haven't been following general animation business news from a few years back, I've been on the tail of the fallout of Blue Sky Studios closing down for a while. From the last couple remaining Ice Age projects limping across the finish line onto Disney Plus, again, that Buck Wild movie is so bad. Nimona getting cancelled before Netflix swooped in and saved it of all people, only for it to then end up with a nomination for Best Animated Feature. Gosh, what a turnaround there. To even the bittersweet final short that the Blue Skies animators put out of Scrat finally eating his acorn, bringing the story of this studio full circle. Whilst a lot of this studio's output wasn't the best, again, they made 5 Ice Age movies, seeing them squashed out of the picture during the Fox acquisition was heartbreaking to see. Even if it had been done under Disney, it would have still been nice to have that one extra major animation studio carrying on. It's just one less voice in animation that we had 5 years ago, you know? And it's from a studio that hasn't only succeeded with Ice Age, Robots is a cult classic of its own. And that movie is far and away so much better than maybe more recent, maybe not modern's the right word here, more recent Blue Skies productions like Spies in Disguise, which is very much Tom Holland. And I guess Robots is a lot more Robin Williams. I guess that's the vibe we're going for. But yeah, that's all done now, and we presumed the Ice Age franchise would go down with it. But no, as many scientists have been looking into doing over the last few years, the mammoths coming back from the dead. And this would be significant from Disney, carrying on what was previously a rival animated franchise. The implications here is that this could very well be a full-on Disney-produced Ice Age movie. Logo above the title card and everything. I want to see that squirrel stuff that acorn into the castle. Just saying, it writes itself, really. Or who knows, maybe they'll keep it under the 20th Century Studios label. Though they've typically been saving that for their more live-action, adult-oriented fare, so I'd be surprised if they did. I am genuinely curious how they're actually going to incorporate this into the Disney brand. It's an interesting direction from a business perspective. I mean, they already have the original movies listed with the Disney button of Disney Plus, in the UK at least, so they may well go all in here. Come on, we want to see a full animatronic of Manny walking around Disneyland. Give us our childhoods back. Or better still, have ourselves some Sid the Sloth in a future Kingdom Hearts game or something. Are they making a 4th? To say the least, I'm sure the characters would get the full Disneyfication treatment, but why even bring back this 20-plus-year-old franchise? It's practically a fossil itself. The movie's popularity was at its peak in the mid-2000s. It basically became a joke that there were 5 of them, and the last 2 notably declining in popularity. Well, even with all that considered, all 5 Ice Age movies were massive moneymakers. Of course they were. As of 2016, with $3.2 billion from the movies alone, the franchise had collectively generated $6 billion in revenue, making it one of the highest grossing media franchises of all time. That's proper Toy Story territory, as weird as it is to think. I remember particularly the second one having a huge load of marketing when it came out. These movies were pretty big, despite being seen as lower down the food chain than Pixar or DreamWorks. Not that I ever knew that as a kid. The third and fourth movies alone were both just shy of $1 billion, so there's your reasoning. It's money. And oh boy, does Mickey love to make money. And look what happened when they last nostalgically resurrected some Fox characters under their own label. The Marvel Studios produced Deadpool and Wolverine made more money than any of the Fox X-Men movies, but also more than any Marvel movie since Spider-Man No Way Home. There's a statistic for you. To say the least, they've done very good business out of excavating the Fox catalog, and the Ice Age gang are certainly prime pickings. just from animation this time. And there's a fair share of big names who've appeared in these movies as well. We've of course had the main three guys, John Leguizamo, Ray Romano, and Dennis Leary, but also Queen Latifah, Simon Pegg, Keke Palmer, Jennifer Lopez, Lego Batman himself, Will Arnett, Patrick Stewart, Josh Gad, yes, Olaf is apparently in here, Alan Tudyk, because I mean of course he is, Peter Dinklage, Nick Frost, Nick Offerman, Jessie J, and Nicki Minaj. Wow, turns out the plot lines aren't the weirdest bit of these movies. Hey there, thank you for making it halfway through this video. Do come along and subscribe if you haven't already to keep up with any other animated movie news. I'll let you know if more Ice Age 6 stuff pops about. But stick around to find out what I would do with the 7th movie, with spin-off included. And let me know any of your thoughts on the project as well while you're here. But on that note, I'll let you get back to the rest of this video. Bye! But the point still stands in that these movies have attracted some high-profile people. I have no idea how some of them got there, but they are there nonetheless. So yes, they have a well-known franchise from the studio they bought and killed with a pedigree for both making money and attracting high-profile talent. But what could they do for a 6th movie? They've covered every prehistoric cataclysm event there is. We've had the first one that actually focused on, the Ice Age. Yeah, they stuck to a grounded premise for one movie. You then had Ice Age 2: The Meltdown, which was a mix of melting ice caps, but also Noah's Ark. Then, here we go, Ice Age: Dawn of the Dinosaurs, suggesting to a generation of kids that dinosaurs and the Ice Age happened at the same time. I mean, hell, maybe they think that all dinosaurs still live underground to this day. Worst still, in Ice Age Continental Drift, the nations of today's world were caused by a tectonic shift that was caused by a squirrel once again stuffing his nut into someplace he shouldn't have. And lest we forget, after the dinosaurs went underground, the mammals survived a flood by riding on a giant hollowed-out tree, and a squirrel split the planet's continents. Then the asteroids came, caused by the same squirrel. Particularly when you go back to that first film, it is truly wild how they followed up each installment. They could have gone in any direction, yet set themselves the challenge of each movie has to revolve around a major world-breaking event, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense. I kinda respect that in a way. As well as the fact that Scrat is the one that kicks off the disaster at the start of every movie. Every movie is essentially Scrat's B-plot creating a world-shaking disaster, with an A-plot being the main characters dealing with it. It's absolute nonsense, but you gotta appreciate them outright committing to it. It's a lot of fun. You can see why it's iconic. And yeah, I guess it's neat that most of the sequels are sort of foreshadowed during the glacier scene of the first movie. Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if that's literally how they came up with the sequel ideas. However, would a 6th movie necessarily have to go this route again? Or do you go for something a little different? How about something that is more frequently pointed out about the sequels, and that is why we don't see any human characters after the first movie? I mean, the easy answer would be that based on the first movie's animation, they didn't have the easiest time pulling off human character designs, but, they were prehistoric humans, so you could kind of get away with it. Plus, the other movie's plotlines were so ridiculous, I doubt the sincerity of the human's role in the first movie would have really fit. Once you've got a pirate monkey who's able to command narwhals to push a glacier like a ship, I think it's fair to say we're a bit far removed from learning Manny's tragic backstory through cave drawings. However, can the franchise step back to that under a Disney creative team? The Buck Wild spin-off wasn't a great start, to be honest, but that was made under a cheap sub-studio for Disney+, so we'll assume we're not getting that kind of thing again. We're actually getting the main voice cast back for this one, so it's already a much bigger investment. Considering the fast and loose timeline of the franchise, I personally think it would be interesting to see them go for a Bronze Age story. You could still have Scrat inside the whole movie, maybe this time having his antics lead humans into discovering bronze. This can lead to better hunting tools that entail a whole new threat to the animals and bring some more tangible stakes that aren't a ridiculous out-of-space disaster. But more importantly, we could finally see a reunion of the herd and the baby. The central plotline of the first movie that's never mentioned again? Well, how about we're introduced to him all grown up and he's the leader of the Bronze Age Revolution. He's the villain, and only Manny, Sid, and Diego have the power to get to him and stop him from killing all the animals. I don't know, it's just a thought. With the idea that every possible event can happen in the same lifespan of a single sloth, I would actually be very up for just advancing to the next era for humanity and playing around with a little bit of that. Sadly, it would be no surprise to me at all if they would just continue with more bombastic storylines of the sequels for money, or even worse, they do make just Buck Wild again on that same kind of dodgy budget aesthetic. However, some version of reintroducing the humans would absolutely get my vote. But anyway, so far, all we've really had is John Leguizamo's word on it like a month ago, so we'll keep this to pure speculation for now. Maybe it'll pop up again in a more snowy season. Honestly, I could live without them doing more Ice Age. It had a 5-movie run, plus a terrible spin-off cementing that property had fully run out of steam. But evidently, I could see some potential direction for if they did decide to go back to it. Considering the days of Blue Sky are no longer with us, maybe it'd be a welcome prospect to have their own crown jewel carry on. Or it's just a horrible milking of a dead studios franchise. Probably that one. But on that note, I'm going to end things off there. Thank you very much for reaching the end of this video. Do let me know your thoughts on Ice Age 6, or where do you think this will go? Will this open the door for a whole new field of dandelions, or will this movie, if it does in fact happen, just be the last one this season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, or over on our Discord server, and I shall see you in a little bit.